Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I thought I'd do a quick video just showing you how fast it takes me to get from the west side of Saint John to the Saint John airport. And you know, just along the way I'll just be chatting about my experiences flying and all of that. If you're thinking of moving here and you're not sure what the airport's like, what the flights are, that sort of thing. Right now I just did some shopping on the west side, so you get to kind of see the distance from the west side to the airport. So typically I would say on average it takes me about 15 to 20 minutes depending on traffic and everything like that. However, if you're from Toronto or the GTA or Ontario, like I was in Toronto, and the traffic, you can't compare, right? So here there's like, obviously there's busy times, but nothing compared. So yeah, like like I said, it takes about 15 to 20 minutes. But again, it also depends on where you're looking to live. Like if you're looking to live more east, if you're looking to live further north, like, you know, it might take you less time or even more time, right? So, and we're just gonna get on the highway here. So if you've ever been to Saint John Airport, it is tiny. I think before we moved here, I didn't really fly that much, so I don't really travel much. But my God, I was so shocked when I saw the Saint John Airport, because I was like, man, this is tiny. Like, they literally have two ports. So they only have Air Canada and Flair. So Air Canada is more expensive than Flair. Flair is much, much cheaper. Like, you know, I visit pretty often. I try to go back at least like twice a year to visit family and stuff in the summer, which is the best time. So the thing to know about Flair is they don't fly at certain times. Like last year, they were closed for the winter. They didn't fly out in the winter, which is the norm for them every year. But they did pick up again in April last year. So for this year, I was looking, and Flair isn't running until June. So, you know, they are cheaper, but they are a hit or miss. Luckily, I like to visit in the summer anyway, so that works out for me. Sometimes, you know, if, you know, it's a family thing or whatever, like I'll try to go earlier, and then I'll just suck it up and pay with Air Canada. But yeah, so with Air Canada, I've gone for like 2 weeks, and you pay, I paid like $500, including a carry-on. Of course, if you've been flying recently, you know that they've hiked up the prices for, you know, you to essentially not travel naked. Which is ridiculous, because who the heck, you know, travels without luggage? So it obviously is just a money grab. They know it's something that you need to take. So yeah, I mean, again, Flair did also like hike up their prices, but I paid for a carry-on there and back last time. For my entire trip, I paid about $260. I stayed in Toronto for 2 weeks. That was including a carry-on. That was just flying economy. I still did get like a window seat as well on the plane. So like, you know, it's pretty good, and it's a 2-hour flight, right? So if you are thinking of moving here and you're like, you know, I don't know if I can manage flying back and forth, I don't know if I have the time to, or, you know, the money. That's kind of been my experience. Like I said, Flair is about like 190 to 260 depending. Like the very first year that I moved here, I paid, it was like $190, $170 when the carry-ons weren't as expensive. but with the raise, it's about $260 something. So with Air Canada, like I said, I paid for the same type of deal, like going two weeks with a carry-on was $500 odd. So much more expensive. And it's really up to you if, you know, what you could afford, what's worth it, what's not. So I really am thankful for Flair, because if we only had the Air Canada option, it would be tougher for me to go back and visit family. But again, because Flair is pretty cheap, it allows me to go back more often. So you might be wondering, like, you know, is Saint John the only way to fly? No, it is not. You can go to the Moncton Airport. You can go to the Fredericton Airport. But just for, like, as an example, Flair, from my understanding, does not go to Fredericton. It's only Air Canada. And I believe they don't go to Moncton as well. So I know someone that lives in and around the Fredericton area, and she's also from Ontario, and when she has family members fly out to visit her, she actually drives down to Saint John to pick them up, and then, you know, it's about like an hour and a half drive to go back up there. And, you know, it seems silly when she has an airport close to her, but it's really just a money saver, which is kind of unfortunate because it is a long drive, but to each their own. Yeah, so that is something to be aware of as well. And I think that's why Saint John Airport also tends to be pretty busy. Like, it's just because, like, they are small, but there's not a lot of options, right? Like, so, and one thing, like, I wondered as well, and you might be wondering, is, especially within Canada, you're like, can I not take the train to New Brunswick? And the answer is yes, you can. You can take the Via Rail. However, it does tend to be either the same amount of money from what I've looked, like it'll be around like $500 to $600, depending, right? Depending on your ticket and your dates. But I've also seen it where it was more expensive. It was close to like $700, and then you're sitting on the train for 24 hours. So from here to Toronto would be a 24-hour ride on the train. And you're also catching it from Moncton. So for me, I'm like, no thank you. I'd rather pay the same amount of money and then be there in 2 hours and take like a direct flight. That's the other thing that I've noticed is the direct flights. They're not like cheaper or anything like that. It's like, you know, you can go for the same price in a direct flight, or you can go at a different time for the same price, and there's like a stop in Montreal for an hour or so. But that's just what I've seen. So for me, like, it might be like a weird time, like first thing in the morning, but I'd still rather fly direct than take the layover. But again, that's just personal preference at the end of the day. So yeah, I mean, like, going back to the train, I think I would like to do it one day, more just because I'm like a big scenery and nature person. I do think it would be a beautiful view, taking the train, but it is a long time to be sitting on a train for 24 hours when I could be there in 2 hours for the same price. And that's the thing, like, I think if the train was cheaper, right? Like, let's say, you know, yeah, girl, we'll take you to to Toronto for $100, and or even if it was $200, but the train is 24 hours. You know what? I'd be like, fine, let's do it. Like at least once, right, for the experience. But for the same amount of money, it's just, why would I do that? You know, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. But the other benefit is, I guess, like, it is the Via Rail, so if you're going to Toronto, it leaves you right downtown, right? Like, I believe you're going to Union Station. So that is convenient, and then you can connect to where you need to go from there. Also with flying, there is, like, the really convenient train system now with... I believe it's called the Up at Pearson. If you're flying out to Pearson, like that's like $12. It takes you directly, or not directly. I think there's like 3 stops or something, but you know, it's very quick to go to Union Station. Only 3 stops or 4, and then again, once you're at Union, it's just a very easy, like, you're either getting on the subway or on the go. Maybe you have a friend picking you up, whatever, right? So yeah, I mean, that's just been my experience flying. I haven't had any issues with Flair. In general, I've only had one issue one time with Air Canada, and it was when I went to Toronto, and then I was waiting for the flight back to come back to Saint John, and I had booked I booked my flights in advance. Like, I booked them like months out, and I planned for it and everything, and I knew for a fact I selected my seat. I had the receipt, everything like that, and they're just like, when I checked in, I was looking at like what my seat number was and everything like that, and it said TBD, and I'm like, what the hell does that mean? So it was like, oh, to be determined. And sorry, I'll just pause on that story for a second just to show you. This is the exit that we're going to be going. We're going to take the 137A to St. Martin's, and of course you see the airport sign. So once you get off this exit, you're just merging onto another highway, and it literally is a straight shot until you see a fork in the road at the end. You make a left and you're there, and of course I'll show you all that, but just as an FYI. And we're just gonna merge. There we go. And now we're just gonna stay straight. So back to what I was saying. My not so good experience with Air Canada was I was on my way back, and then I wasn't guaranteed a seat, which was crazy to me because I paid for it way in advance, all that. So what happened there is, unfortunately, a lot of airlines, and this is not just Air Canada, like it can happen to any airline, is they overbook just in case. They're like, oh, if someone cancels, then like we're gonna lose money, and so we're gonna, just overbook, and then, oh well, if everyone ends up coming, then someone is not guaranteed a seat, and then we're going to have to find them a different flight, which is very inconvenient because we have work and everything like that, right? Like, you can't just put me on a different day on your schedule, right? Luckily, it all worked out. They even gave me a better seat with more leg room because of the inconvenience in it. But it was so unsettling because I was now at the airport, and I had to tell the people I was staying with, like, hey, I don't have a guaranteed spot like on this plane, so I'm not sure what's going to happen. It's so inconvenient, right, for everybody. But yeah, so like no issues with Flair. I do have a friend that their family member flew out with Flair, and the thing is, in Saint John, I will make videos on it in the spring/summer. We're coming up on that. We do get a lot of fog, so because of the fog, they had to cancel her flight. And like I said, we get fog a lot. There was like a month straight that we just had fog, and it did not clear up at all. So, yeah, I mean, of course there's delays like that where it's like weather related. And it was just a pain because initially they were telling her, oh, we can fly you out tomorrow. And then my friend was driving down to go pick them up because they were being told tomorrow. And then they ended up getting a flight later that day, which is like, again, annoying because you're like, hey, I still see fog, but it's okay now for whatever, you know. Of course, you'd rather be safe, but it's just annoying. Sorry, guys. Well, my video cut there just because I did run out of storage on my phone, and I've just been sitting here parked at the airport deleting it anyway. But yes, this is the Saint John Airport. As you can see, it is tiny. Like I said, like the building you're looking at is it. There's no extension of this building. It's like 2 doors because there's only 2 ports. And let's just take a drive around here, but there's not too much to show. I do have a trip myself in a couple weeks, so I can do a better video showing you inside the airport. I'm not going to go inside today, but just because it's so tiny, it'll be awkward. They're like, hey, where are you going? Nowhere, just showing. But I can do a quick video when I'm in there showing you. There is a cafe inside. It's not like Tim Hortons or McDonald's or anything like that. It's just like the Saint John little cafe there. Saint John little airport cafe. It's not the greatest, I will tell you that. Usually I stop by Timmy's before coming because, yeah, the coffee isn't the greatest, the food isn't the greatest. So, you know, it's not like the Toronto airport where you can just have so many options and restaurants and whatever there, right? But yeah, this is it. You have like your parking here. This is like the long-term parking ahead of us. I'm just doing another quick loop to show you. But yeah, if you have any questions about flying or any questions in general, please drop them in the comments below. I'd be happy to make a video to answer it. And yeah, thank you so much for watching.